Beloved Madridistas, welcome back to the channel. Okay, we need to talk about the crisis at Real Madrid because we are in a state of crisis. We need to call it what it is. How can a group of such talented players play so poorly? It's unbelievable what we're seeing. I was at the Milan match the other night and I wanted to pull my own hair out. It was such a terrible performance. There's so many things wrong. I want to discuss, we'll talk about players individually and we'll also talk about broader issues, but we have a lot of things to fix and I'm incredibly disheartened. But let me give you my thoughts. By the way, I couldn't do this video earlier. There was an election, obviously, in the US. The markets were moving around. I had to tend to my investors, so I was a little bit busy. But we are in a state of crisis. I want to talk to you about what I think some of the glaring problems are. So thanks for joining me again. Let's talk about the crisis at our beloved Real Madrid. Let's get started. Right, Madridistas, welcome back. Okay, let's talk about kind of where we are, and I think there's so much blame to go around because it isn't just one thing. There's so many issues that I think we need to address. Look, we'll start from the top down, and I've mentioned this in previous videos. There was just very poor planning around this squad, and as I've mentioned before, you know, I love Florentino. He's an amazing dude. He's done incredible things for this club, but you know, the way that we handled the off-season and the transfers was very much driven, I think, by, you know, commercial interests and maybe just, you know, hoarding talent for the sake of talent, but it wasn't planned having the balance of the squad in mind. We needed an additional defender, central defender, but also somebody that could potentially play the right back position. We didn't bring that type of player in. Now we're scrambling and there's discussions about Trent Alexander-Arnold and all that, but that is something we should have addressed in summer. And instead, we brought in two strikers. Now, Kylian, you know, is an amazing player, and we all know that. We all know who he is. But this was, you know, it felt a little bit capricious to me. It certainly wasn't necessary from a sporting standpoint. And yes, he's an amazing player. But this has really kind of destabilized the way we play, the formation, and where the players are on the pitch, and how we play. But the point is that from a planning standpoint, and we're talking from Florentino down, not a lot of sort of thought went into the sporting, purely the sporting aspect of the squad. This was done for, you know, we want to have the best players, so, you know, we just bring them even if there's no room necessarily. But it was done in that manner, or maybe commercial reasons. Maybe there's, like, you know, a ton of contracts and endorsements that we could run through Kylian. I mean, it just, from a sporting standpoint, what the squad needed, we did not get. We ended up, you know, now, as I speak, we are at least one defender too few. And we are two forwards too many, clearly, because we have talent that it isn't able to play because we have so many positions, so many players that play the same position. Okay, let's keep going down the list. Ancelotti, look, and again, I have to preface it, you know, there's a preface here. He's an amazing manager. He's done incredible things for our club, and we need to respect him for everything that he's done. But he has been making mistakes consistently this season, just consistently. We're playing so many different systems to try to find one that works. None of them seem to work. He hasn't been able to come up with the proper system that gets the most out of these players. The lineup is always questionable. He tends to insist on the same players all the time. I don't see enough rotation. The changes that he makes are absolutely appalling. The other night in the Milan match, I was thinking, after Kylian missed the third screamer, I thought, okay, it's not his night. He's not going to score. You have Enric on the bench, who's a pit bull, a player with incredible energy, incredible finishing, who's just chomping at the bit, dying to get minutes, and he leaves him on the bench. And Arda Güler, a player that is so skillful, so he can play, and so versatile, so technical, great vision, can play in any position. And who do you bring on? Ceballos. These are just these are mistakes. These are mistakes on the part of the manager. And Ancelotti has done wonderful things, but he's making too many mistakes this season, and he's not really learning from them, which is very, very frustrating. So there is a discussion now among the sort of press and the YouTube world here, the Real Madrid YouTube guys that I follow. Should Ancelotti leave or stay? And an increasing number of them are hoping to push Ancelotti out. And, I don't know if that is the solution or not. What I can tell you is that he has been very disappointing in a lot of the decisions he's made. I think maybe a change would be good at this point because he doesn't seem to know how to put these pieces together. Now, I don't know if it's a good idea to do it in the middle of the season. I'm not sure that that's an ideal solution either. But I do understand the voices that are advocating for his departure. And with every incremental shitty match, we sort of vindicate that position. So Ancelotti, I think, is very much, on the radar and under the gun, and things better change or he won't last very long at the club. Okay, Jude. Jude, I can't blame him. When I hear reports from other people saying, Jude is having a terrible year. No, he's not. He's playing out of position, okay? We're asking him to dedicate himself to defensive duties, and I'm tired of seeing this guy run around, slide tackling everybody on earth. He covers so much ground. The poor guy, he has the English football spirit, which I really love. He works his ass off and runs his ass off. He has that incredible work ethic, which I admire. But it's completely ineffective because he is stuck in defensive duties and therefore completely unable to participate in attack. And again, this is not Jude's fault. I do not blame this on Jude. He is playing in the wrong position. And this is back down to Ancelotti and Florentino for the squad that was assembled here, because you have to make allowances for injuries. Okay, these guys are human. They're in incredible shape. They're the fittest people on earth. But they're human and they will get injured. And the lineup that we had was barely able to achieve balance. But if you get one injury, that's it. Everything goes out of whack, and we're seeing that as well. Okay, Kylian, what can I'm going to state the obvious. He's a wonderful player. He's technically gifted, and he's trying his best. He really is. I mean, I can tell when he's on the pitch. I mean, he certainly in attacking, he really does try his best. He doesn't backtrack much. He doesn't try to. He's trying to do a little bit more lately. But yes, he's obviously not gonna press or defend as much as other players. That seems unchangeable at this point. But he's just again in the wrong position. You bring in a natural left winger when you already have the best left winger in the world, arguably, in Vini. And you have Rodrigo, who always plays better on the left. This was just gluttony in the same position. And of course, when you start playing people in the wrong position, they're not going to be as effective. And when Kylian receives the ball, unless he moves to the wing, and then he can do the one-on-ones and the one-on-twos. But when he receives the ball in the middle, he's surrounded by players, and that is not his natural state. And sitting in the box, waiting for a ball to cross and to try to hit it, that sort of static number 9. That's not who he is either. So we have a problem with Kylian, and I don't want to blame him too much. I just think he's playing, again, out of position. And this comes to planning, and this has to do with Ancelotti. Okay, Vini, I'll tell you, I thought Vini the other day, I think this Ballon d'Or thing has affected him. I'm not kidding. I think Vini is a very sensitive person from what you gather in interviews and stuff. He's a very sensitive kid, and I think this Ballon d'Or thing really, really affected him. The other day I felt him slightly less motivated. I think he sort of gave up easier on plays that he would normally chase down to the end. I found him a little bit more lethargic, a little bit less committed, a little less high intensity. And I don't know what it is. I mean, it could be the Ballon d'Or thing may have taken a bit of the wind out of his sails. Maybe it's something else. But I did notice Vini a little bit crestfallen. Okay, Luka Modric, we need to discuss. Again, this is a legend, okay? This is a living legend of the club who we love and respect and admire and will always revere. But he is not in a condition to play from the first minute in a Champions League match against a physical Italian side. It's just not, this is not, in the minutes, I can tell you, and we were commenting at the stadium, that in the minutes before he was substituted, Modric looked exhausted. he was so static. He wasn't moving. He was standing around in the middle of the pitch, kind of in the same position, but he was just sort of, not making contact, not attacking, not defending, not pressing. He was exhausted. And you cannot use Luka Modric in that way. Luka Modric is a player to bring in the last 20 minutes of a match or 30 minutes of a match when everyone else is tired and you need clarity or you need possession or you need a breakthrough pass. That's when you're going to have a relative advantage using Luka Modric. You're not going to do it when he plays from the first minute and the guy's, 38, 39 years old. This is, again, very poor decision-making on the part of Ancelotti. Okay, Lucas Vázquez. Lucas, I love you, and you always work really hard and try your best, but there is no way that this guy can maintain the right-back position in highly competitive matches, okay? The other night against Milan, that left lane of their attack and that right lane of ours defensively, he got mauled every single time. Every one-on-one he lost. All it took was one or two simple passes, and they were behind him. They managed to get behind him every single time. This is not a player that can be a starting right back for Real Madrid. He's not. And of course, now we're scrambling to find a solution, but all of this should have been thought of before the season started and not now. So Lucas Vázquez, I don't know what the solution is, to try Militao on the right or to buy something in the winter transfer window, but something has to be done because we cannot play the rest of the season with Lucas Vázquez as a starting right back and expect to win anything this year. And I don't mean to be insulting, but that's what I believe to be true. Okay, Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni has had a really bad year, okay? I find him, he was, against Milan, he was awful. He lost so many balls. The Bernabeu whistled at him. And I always feel bad when this happens, but the Bernabeu is very unforgiving, and you're not going to get away with, playing like shit consistently. And he was sort of, booed. Now, there's an injury, so he'll rest for a while. But when Camavinga came in, there was a noticeable improvement in our recovery, a noticeable improvement in our transition play, in our ability to protect the ball in the middle of the pitch. He brings a lot more speed, a lot more dynamism. Now, he's not going to make passes, he's no Toni Kroos, but he is a very strong, dynamic pivot. And I would have chosen Camavinga over Tchouaméni many, many times this season. And again, this is one of those disagreements that I have with Ancelotti. And again, it's something that comes down to the managerial decisions that he's making, which I think are deeply flawed in recent matches. Okay, Arda Güler. How is this kid not playing? I'm really, really tired of you're forcing Luka Modric to play minutes beyond his physical capacity, and you have a gem, a very intelligent, incredibly technical, skillful, brilliant player on the bench who has proven it time and again, and you're not using him. This is something, again, incomprehensible to me, and Ancelotti needs to fix this. And I can't believe that with all the comments people are making in the world of Real Madrid, YouTube, and the press, he's not doing anything about it. He continues to make the same mistake. Arda needs to play more. Okay, Enric, why is this kid not playing more? Can somebody explain this to me? The other day, it was absolutely patently clear that Mbappe was not going to score. Anybody could have told you that, okay? He was never going to score in that match. And you have a kid like Enric who has proven to have an incredible power, tenacity, speed, moves well off the ball, finishes incredibly well, and he's hungry as hell to prove a point. And you have him on the bench, or you have him warming up for 20 minutes only to go home at the end of the night. This is unforgivable. And again, this is Ancelotti who needs to fix this. And okay, I need to mention Vallejo just because this is another example of the mismanagement of the squad. Why is Vallejo, a kid that you're never going to play, who played 5 minutes and screwed it up last time, why is he on the squad? Why is he on the roster? This is a very valuable position that should be there. You should not be in the squad if you are not able to play as a starter. So I have to mention that again and again. That goes back to the mismanagement of the squad. Vallejo is taking up a very valuable spot in the roster, and he shouldn't be there. Okay, finally, there's some distractions that we need to get away from. Okay, there was an issue that Fede Valverde's wife, okay, her name is Mina Bonino, I think, and she's sort of a little bit famous in some circles, but, after Fede was substituted the night of the Milan match, she put out a tweet kind of criticizing Ancelotti for substituting him. We need to, we got to stop this. Okay, these are stupid distractions. Fede needs to tell his wife to please not get involved in issues of the team. These are, and then Ancelotti had to sort of, reply to her comments. These are distractions that are, these are unprofessional distractions that we don't need. And, I love Fede, and I'm sure his wife is charming, but we really need to be more professional about stuff like this. Another example was the Rodrigo comments, right? When he was, quoted as saying that, he would consider a move out of the club at the end of the season, stuff like that. And then he denied it subsequently. These are distractions, Rodrigo. We need everybody focused. We need everybody serious. We don't have time and room for this stuff. I also have to mention, Kylian again. You may recall that a few matches ago, Ancelotti didn't want to play Kylian and wanted him to rest because he had played every single minute. And Kylian, I think it was against Alaves, and Kylian said, no, I want to play. And Kylian's wishes superseded that of Ancelotti, and Kylian came out and he got injured. And he ended up not playing in the Metropolitano against Atlético de Madrid, which was costly potentially. We only took 1 point away from that match. But again, this is, what is this? The player doesn't decide who plays. Ancelotti decides, and there should be no back and forth. So we need to remove these distractions. We need Ancelotti to start taking very valid criticism, to rotate more, to play players in their position. And if Kylian needs to sit him. If Vini is uninspired or tired, sit him. But I don't care, what a player's last name is. The players that play need to be the ones that are hungriest, fittest, and in best form for that particular match. So we have a bunch of problems and a very difficult schedule. We have to play at Anfield. That's going to be brutally difficult to watch. But again, these are just some of the problems that I see that I think need to be fixed. So I wanted to give you my opinion. By all means, let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But we have a lot to turn around, and this is not looking like a very hopeful season. I want to stay optimistic, but I'm just not seeing signs of improvement. Quite the contrary. I'm seeing a gradual deterioration in our play, and this is very concerning. So I wanted to share my thoughts with you. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say, but thanks for joining me. As always, love you guys, and as always, a la Madrid.